Once upon a time in a world far away,
In a world far away, we decided to redo our.
we were small children and we watched children's movies on a regular basis. And now it's present day, wherever we are, and we still watch children's movies, but we also watch other movies. Hey, Malik, this is how we're going to intro today's quick chat.
Oh, okay, cool. This is the quick chat version 2.0 we're doing, the much more laid back kind of informal show. So this will be fun. Already off to a great start.
So good. Yeah, we tried to record this one back in, what was it, October,
September.
September.
Yep.
And we had so many technical difficulties with specifically this episode, and we just didn't really like it. And then we wanted to do a different kind of quick chats, and we're like, oh, this topic fits right into the new quick chats. Let's do that. So,
Yep. Perfect timing.
what are we talking about, Malik?
We are going to talk about childhood movies. Specifically, kind of want to go further back than, high school. So that's what I'm going to try to do when I focus on the movies. So we'll see. We'll have a part for later movies, but, to start off with.
So, like middle school and back or high school and back?
Middle school and back is what I'm thinking. So that's what we'll roll with. What's happening? You're making faces.
I was trying to find the mute button just in case I needed it because we haven't used Skype in a while. I just hit the.
It's right there in the middle.
Okay, you got it? Sweet. Got that figured out. I'm going to edit this out later. Okay, so movies that we grew up with.
Oh, yeah. So, what my first thought was, what was the first movie I even remember watching, right? And for me, it would have to be Lion King. That's the first one I can remember watching. It came out in 92, 93, something like that. I don't know, sometime long time ago. But it's
Like
the first.
watching. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's the first one I remember. That one and the Land Before Time movies. Those were all in the same like spot in my brain, in my memory. So that's what I'm going with.
Are you talking about movies that you watched in theaters or just watched period first one you remember?
Just watch period because we didn't really go to the theater that much when I was younger. Mostly when theater time was when I could go take myself and didn't have to go with my parents. So
Oh. The first movie I remember watching in theaters was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I thought Lucy Pevensey, is that the last name? Pevens? Oh
I
man, I
don't
can't
know.
remember now.
I've seen
Anyway,
them, but I don't remember.
I adored her. And she was my hero of all time because I was like, she's just the greatest little child ever. And I felt like I was her. That's the first
See,
one I remember in theaters. I don't remember the first movie I ever watched. It was probably a VeggieTales movie.
there are some VeggieTales back there and deep, deep in my memory too. So, yeah. But of course, you would like Lucy. I found her to be the worst character in that entire movie. She was
Oh,
super annoying to me, so I was really tired of her by the end. So,
rude! Of course, I would like Lucy, and of course, you would think that she was the worst person in that whole movie.
mm, I think it's from the function of being the oldest in my family.
Which I think when I saw that, I don't know if Tim was even born yet. So I'm like always near the bottom. And so I related to younger kids. But what's his face? Edmund. I thought he was the worst character in the world. I was like, he is just a terror.
You know what? I stand corrected. At least Lucy turned out to be useful.
That's right. She
At
may
the
have
very
been the
end.
worst of the likable characters in your book, but she was not the worst character in the movie/book.
Fair enough. She
Oh,
she
Tim,
came through clutch.
she did. I mean, she introduced them to that whole world. It was her fault they even found Narnia.
Accidental troublemaker.
Maybe that's why I related to her. um. Oh, I had to be older than 6 because All right, Tim had to have been born because I had to be older than 6 because I read that book before we watched the movie. So I was probably like 7 or 8. Is that a book you
Makes
read
sense.
in first or second grade?
Well, you could. I'm not sure that many kids are.
I think I did. I think that was the first movie I ever saw that was based on a book that I had read too. But I think the first movie that I can remember loving as a kid was Balto.
Balto. Not a bad movie. Not a
It
bad
was
movie
so
at all.
good. And now I still have such an affinity for huskies because of Balto. He
Completely
saved
reasonable.
everybody.
That everybody, is that how we're gonna go with that?
I was gonna say the town, and I was like, nah, it's got to be bigger than that. Everybody. He saved
Ev-
everybody.
Everyone got saved. Got it.
He's the hero we all needed. Do you
Yeah.
still like Lion King?
Oh yeah. It is still my favorite animated movie. It is still at the top. Everything else is second, somewhere second. Toy Story is probably Toy Story 1 is probably the closest to it in my mind. But as far as animated goes, Lion King is still at the tippy top. Everybody else is playing second fiddle to that movie for me. So,
Do you
and it
think
was
that's
got
because that's one of the first movies you remember, or do you think it's just because it's a solid movie?
well when I was younger. Obviously, it was one of the first ones. But I watched it mm, 2 months ago. Again, the animated one, right? Literally right after we went and saw the live action, we watched the animated right after that movie, and then watched Lion King 2 that same night. So, yeah, I still really love that movie. So there are good, there are other good animated movies, but that's a tall order to live up to. It was a really kind of dark movie though when you go back and watch it.
Is. That's one of my favorite movies. That one and Nemo. To hear the like no frills description of what the movie is, and where you take out like every detail and just give like the bare bones. And I think Lion King is like um son is accused of his father's murder in Africa by his uncle and has to fight for power or something. And like you hear it, you're like, he's accused of his dad's murder? What? And he's raised by two strangers who teach
Yep,
him to be uh
a pacifist basically.
yeah. 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 That's I love those. I don't know a better way to refer to those, so I can't look them up. How do you call those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. Can describe them to save my life on the so don't go look it up now. We'll look it up later.
I want to look it up now. Um, yeah, that's a good movie. I always loved Timon and Pumbaa better than anything else, though. I always loved the secondary characters. I'm like, I could care less about the rest of the movie. So when they made it 2.5 for that, I was so excited because I was like, it's just a movie about Timon and Pumbaa. Awesome.
It's liking 1.5.
1.5. I'm sorry.
Just so you
As
know.
soon as I said it, I was like, is that? I don't know if that's right. Thank you for correcting me.
Oh, you're fine.
Liking 1.5. They were just such solid secondary characters. The rest of the movie is pretty golden too. And they have golden secondary characters. I feel like a lot of movies they just have good secondary characters. Or some movies have crappy secondary characters. And you're like, I don't it makes or breaks a movie sometimes.
Even in the live action, they were great secondary characters. Probably my favorite part, to be honest. So
I haven't seen the live action one yet. Are we calling it live action? Live animation?
that's the best way we're going to describe it. I don't getting into the nitpicky details of it. Yeah, I've just not going to do it.
What? Oh man. We went to the theater recently and they were showing previews for some movie with a dog in it. Um, oh, it's like a some book that's or some movie that's based on a book with like Harrison Ford in it. Um, I don't remember what it's called, but the dog is animated. And I think if the The only reason you should have an animated animal in a live action movie is if the animal is going to speak. Otherwise, why are you not using a real dog? I don't understand. I genuinely do not understand why they made this decision. And it looks so bad.
Because it's probably going to be bad, honestly.
Oh, and I'm so scared that everybody's gonna be like, Janelle, this is such a good movie. You have to come watch it with us. And I'm like, I can't sit and watch an animated dog play alongside Harrison Ford.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. It's not worth it.
Ah. I can't think of any movies when we were kids though that had animated animals next to live action people except Mary Poppins.
Mm. Yeah.
But Mary Poppins was very intentional about it. And they're like, oh no, these are obviously the most cartoon characters you were ever going to see next to Dick Van Dyke and, oh my gosh, what's her name? Julie Andrews. I knew that.
Yeah, at least
and it was like the first time anybody ever did that. And it was such a big deal.
Such a big deal.
Such a big deal. I loved that movie growing up too. I liked all the live action Disney musicals they felt like adult musicals. Like Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Ones that had adults and small children. I did not like the teenage movies. Like High School Musical was not my thing. I was not a fan.
Yeah, don't really blame you on that one. Don't really blame you at all.
And the other Disney Channel movies, like the Even Stevens movie, and yeah, anything that had to do with a teenager. I'd watch it, but it was never something I was excited to watch.
Now, as far as non-animated movies go, this is it's actually really hard to kind of decide on some of these because there's so many really, really good movies. Probably Dark Knight is still my favorite non-animated movie just because I thought Heath Ledger as a Joker was so incredibly great. And that he made the entire movie. Batman was there, fine, whatever. But I was like, give me the Joker scenes in that movie. So, yeah, really here for that. Liked a lot of the Lord of the Rings movies too. So,
you watched those before high school?
Yes. Yeah, it was an event in my family. Although Dark Knight obviously came out after high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Lord of the Rings ones were great. Yeah, we would sit around and watch them in order at home. It was crazy.
Oh, that's dope. I remember I tried to watch one time while my brother and sister were watching. They were watching in the family room, and we had bifold closet doors separating the family room from the living room, and I sat at the closet doors with my one eye looking through like a kid looking through a fence at a baseball game or something. And I sat like that with my eye looking through the door for as long as I could. And I caught maybe 10 minutes of it before somebody heard me or something. And John came and threw the doors open. He was like, "You're not allowed to watch this." I was like,
it's fine. Not. It was so gentle. There's a little bit of stabbing. It's not that bad.
Stabbing. I was maybe 8 or 9. I was real bitter about it for a long time. And then when I finally watched them, I didn't watch them until high school. And I watched the second half of number 2, and then number 3, and then number 1, and then the second half of number 2, or the first half of number 2.
Your watch order stresses me out. I feel like I need to correct this. This is foolishness.
And I started watching number 1 again with a friend recently, and then we got distracted because I kept asking him questions like about the production more than just tell me the story, but give me every detail about what's going on. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, we should have watched the extended edition." And I was like, "Yeah, we should have." And then we ended up making it 15 minutes into the movie before we got too distracted with other questions and other things, and other people showed up, and we're like, "Oh, never mind. We'll watch it later." And then we never did. Whoops.
Well, you
Sorry,
can
Lucas.
imagine. I own the extended editions.
Oh, I know you do.
It's very, very long. When you have to change a Blu-ray disc, the movie's long. So you get through part one, it's like put in part two. All right.
How long are they?
Oh yeah. I couldn't even tell you, but they're at least an extra 45 minutes a piece at least.
Okay.
But it fills in a lot more detail, so a lot of things make way more sense
Right.
as you go further into the movies, especially.
So that makes them about 4 hours then, give or take.
Yep. Yep, at the shortest.
I thought I heard one of them was like 6 hours.
I think the third one, director's cut's pretty long. I can look at the runtime.
Mm. Hold on. I'm trying to think, like all the non-animated movies I saw when I was a kid were like old movies, like not old movies, but like Herbie Fully Loaded. Like everybody else watched. I actually think I had that backwards. Herbie the Love Bug is the one I watched growing up. It wasn't until I was like junior high or high school that I finally watched Herbie Fully Loaded, which is the one with what's her face, Lindsay Lohan. But I watched the other one that was from like 1968 or something. And that was just my whole life growing up was watching all the very old versions of movies. And you know what? I loved it. And I still do. And I enjoy having classic movies in my personal collection greatly. Ooh, my favorite movie.
Go ahead. You're pretty excited. Go ahead.
My favorite movie of all time is so cheesy. And the whole part was basically written for this specific actor, but it's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Danny Kaye from 1954. I think I'm probably totally wrong on that date. But that is my all-time favorite. And nobody else has ever seen it. And I say, oh, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And they're like, oh, the one with, what's his name? The Office? Michael Scott. What's his real name?
I'll talk about Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. Is it him? No, I'm not sure. Maybe it's somebody else. Anyway, the new one that came out in like 2017, which is also good. But my all-time favorite was Danny Kaye because he just improv so much of it, and they just give him scenes where he's like imagining stuff just so he can be goofy.
Wow.
And it's great. There's so many noises outside of my room right now.
Someone's trying to get you. It's fine.
The other day I was walking. There are two paths to get from one side of the library to the other. Well, technically four paths. And I passed the first one, and then I was getting up to the next two that were like alongside the river. And there were people on bikes on the first one that I passed. I was like, I'm not going to take that one because there are people on it. And then I was like, but I want to walk along the river, so I'm not going to take the one in front of the library. I'm going to take the one between the library and the river. And then I started walking down, and I was like, oh, shoot. If somebody did try to come out and get me right here, I genuinely do not think I would be able to defend myself. Like, I'm carrying my heavy backpack, and I was like, I know you're supposed to, like, gouge their eyes out or something if someone comes and tries to attack you, but I don't think I could do it.
Oh, gosh. Okay, look. No more weird paths, please. No more weird paths.
But it's by the river, and it's really pretty, and I wanted to walk by the river on such a nice day.
Uh-huh, I hear you.
It wasn't dark.
You were not prepared to defend yourself.
I like pulled my keys out and had like the point of the key in between my knuckles so that if somebody came, I could just like hit them with my keys. And then I felt too bad about it. And so I moved them to the other hand.
Okay. You were not allowed to walk anywhere anymore, apparently. Cannot believe you. All right, we're putting a GPS tracker on Janelle. Because clearly she can be trusted with her own safety and her own moving around.
Okay, all of my self-defense. This is genuinely the way that I intend to respond if anyone ever does try to attack me. Is I'm going to take the scene from one of my other favorite movies when I was a child, Miss Congeniality, where she is... she has her talent of like making music on water glasses or whatever, and the girls drink them, so she has to come up with a different talent. She's an FBI agent, so she knows how to defend herself, and she's been working with these girls who don't know how to defend themselves, so she's like, I'm going to make this a teaching moment. So she goes out and she shows everybody how to defend themselves, and the last one she does, She says, if somebody comes up from behind you, just remember to sing. And then she demonstrates on her friend, and she uses her elbow for all of these. She says solar plexus, instep, nose, groin. And so she's just like smacking her friend from behind with her elbows. And I was like, that's how I'm going to do it. If anybody ever comes behind me, like, I'm sure I can get enough force with my elbow to whack them in the solar plexus. And then step on their foot, smack them in the nose, smack them in the groin, and run.
At least there is some plan.
There is a plan if someone comes and attacks me from behind.
Hopefully
so then my boyfriend
execution.
gave me a plan. The thing that scares me is gouging somebody's eyes out or breaking their nose with like the forward thrust where you like thrust the heel of your hand into their nose, because I've heard you can kill somebody doing that. And I'm like, I can't do that.
They shouldn't have come up on you. That's their fault. They earned the beatdown. So
I can't do it. So that terrifies me. So I'm like, I can't break somebody's nose. I can't gouge somebody's eyes out. But those are the things that people tell you to do. So I'm like, but I can do this other thing because it'll hurt them enough that they'll leave me alone, hopefully. But I won't have to like permanently damage them.
I think they probably should be permanently damaged. Just saying.
But I want to give them a second chance.
No, that crazy person trying to grab you.
But well, okay. So then my boyfriend gave me a game plan for if somebody comes and attacks me from in front of me. To just kick them in the groin as hard as I can, and then hit them in the head with my knee, and then run. That's my plan. So now I have a plan for a frontal assault and an attack from behind. So I'm good. As long as I
at least like the front plan. The back plan, I don't know about this.
It's solid. Go watch that video. I feel a lot better about this now. But if it doesn't work on the first go, then I don't know what I'm going to do.
Hopefully, your survival instincts kick in. Hopefully, that's what we're hoping for here. Survival. That's all that matters.
Hopefully. But in the fight or flight instincts, like my instinct is to run. I can't fight to save my life. So then one of my other friends was telling me that I needed to get a gun, and I was like, I'm not. No.
See,
that's not me.
That would maybe concern you would hurt yourself more than anything.
Please,
let's be honest.
Don't. Yeah.
We're going to work on it. We're going to work on this.
That's a work in progress. But that movie taught me a lesson that I've kept in my head for all of these years. Sandra Bullock is my life coach.
I want to know how many people have said that in their life. Sandra Bullock is my life coach.
She's so inspiring, though. I love her. She's a gem. She is a national treasure, and she is underappreciated. No matter how much people appreciate her, she's still underappreciated. Okay. I'm so glad we're recording our faces for each other this time, because this is golden.
Okay. So back to the topic at hand. We're going to go kind of on the other side of what movies have grown on you, over the time. And for me, it's Incredibles. Like with the first time I watched The Incredibles, I was like, nah, this movie's whatever. When I watched it a couple years ago before Incredibles 2 came out, I was like, this is a better movie than I remember. So that one has definitely grown on me a lot over the few years.
I would have to agree with that sentiment. It's definitely a better movie. It's still not one of my favorites, and I would be okay if somebody said I could never watch Incredibles again. I'd be like, you know what? That's fine. I'll live. Another one for me is Napoleon Dynamite for sure. I did not like that movie the first time I watched it. Now I watch it like, this is pretty terrible, but it's pretty funny, and I really appreciate it now. And Nacho Libre. And Elf, all of those. It's just not my kind of humor, but now I can watch them and at least enjoy them. Whereas when I was in like high school and junior high, I hated them. And if somebody said that's what we were watching, I would leave.
You know what? Talladega Nights is another movie that grew on me. The first few times I watched that, I was like, this is a horrific movie. And then you live with some of my roommates I lived with, and you watch it enough, and you're like, okay, this is okay. I'll survive. I can watch this now.
I don't think I've seen that.
You should do it at least once. See how you feel.
Okay. Other Golden movie that has grown on me more. Like I liked it to begin with. I didn't ever not like it, but it was never one of my favorites. Is The Princess Bride. I rewatched that the other day, and I just like I feel like every time I watch it, I just appreciate it a little bit more. I'm like, oh, look at how clever they are.
Monsters Inc. Another movie that grew on me. That's from before high school, but still, the first time I saw that, I thought that like Pixar, they need to go away because I was really not a fan of that movie. But it's definitely grown on me. I think Monsters University helped because I went back and watched a lot of the stuff that showed up in because they basically is going back in time, but you get to some things are explained that make the movie make more sense. So, do like that.
You didn't like Monsters when it first came out? Monsters Inc.
No.
You. I always liked that movie, and now I just love it more because now I watch it and just my heart melts every time. Like, boo, no, and it just gets sadder and sadder as I grow up. But I always liked it. That made me think of another one. Dang it.
You know what movie I need to give another chance? Brave. I saw it like mostly watching it, but I haven't really sat down and really like watched it all the way through. I feel like it might actually be a good movie. I just am not sure.
Yeah, same. I feel like I'm gonna get so much flack for this, but Frozen, when it first came out, I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. And then they hyped it up for 8 years, it felt like. I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. I can't. Go away. And I will not let myself watch it again because there's just so much hype over it. I'm like, no, can't do it. The other movie that you made me think of when you talked about Monsters Inc. is actually just a movie that I've always enjoyed and I think is underappreciated as well. Robots.
Robots is great.
It's so great. It's so funny.
There are some seriously inappropriate jokes in that movie, and it's fantastic.
So much better as an adult.
I love everything about it.
It's so good. I love that movie. And yeah, just all of it. It's so funny. I think about that movie a lot, and I bring it up, and people are like, "Oh, I forgot about that movie." I'm like, yeah, everybody forgets about that movie, but it was so funny.
I will say I'm scrolling through the Pixar movies, and man, they had so many hits. This is crazy.
There was like a period where Pixar was under Disney, but they had 2 locations. They had one in Florida and one in California. And the California one was working on getting 3D, and they were like, we are dialing in on this. This is what we're doing. Design studio in Florida, do whatever you want. And that's when they got like big, crazy, way out there movies. And I can't think of what they were. And maybe I'm actually mixing this up with DreamWorks, but I thought it was Pixar / Disney.
Yeah, I mean, this run right here, just oh man, that's in 2001. So you got Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, which was still pretty good. Then they kind of went with Brave, Monsters U, Inside Out, Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory. But that 2001 through 2011 run was wild. They just went ballistic. Yeah, they did a great job.
Oh, movie that I'm looking at this list and remembering, and you said it, movie that I did not like and still don't like from Pixar is Up. I can't stand that movie. I can only watch the first 7 minutes. I tear up a little bit, and I think this is the cutest thing in the world. And then as soon as she dies, I'm done.
You know, we all have flaws, so I'm just going to let you live on that one.
That's my flaw? Excuse me, that's your flaw.
No, that is definitely your flaw.
Garbage movie.
Mr. Fredricksen is the greatest cranky old man of all time. He is my favorite. The little kid's kind of annoying, but I'm here for the old grumpy man the whole time. Oh, so great.
I can't stand.
He was so angry all the time until the very end. Made me so happy.
Like, I think I could maybe put up with that movie if it was just like them two getting to know each other and it was like an imaginary trip. And I don't know. But the fact that it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, he really flew away with his balloons and this kid got stuck with him. I'm like, no, my belief is no longer suspended.
It's a Pixar movie. They made one about talking toys and talking ants. So
yeah, and I could believe both of those.
Lunacy, utter lunacy. But the one thing in the Coco, that movie, I'm mad I waited so long to see it. It's so good.
Oh, so good.
Because I didn't watch it in theaters. Like, it was out of theaters by the time I cared, and then I watched it at home, and I was like, oh wow, this would have been even better on a giant movie screen.
Oh, so good. That's one that I think places like Alamo Drafthouse or something should do every year around Halloween, like on Day of the Dead. They should play that movie and have a sing along or something. Like, I would love that, even though we don't have Alamo Drafthouse up here. Like, yes.
What do y'all have up there?
If you find out, let me know. Because some days it feels like nothing. I went to a fast food chain that is more popular on the West Coast the other day. And I was like, this isn't too bad. And I finished and I was like, I just want Whataburger though.
What place did you go? I'm curious.
Carl's Jr.'s.
Oh. Yeah, you kind of just want Whataburger. Yeah.
Like it was okay, but like, and then I was kind of hoping it would be like Raising Cane's, because I just got like chicken strips and I got like their fry sauce, and they had relish in the fry sauce. It was so weird.
I do not appreciate that.
But it's that or Wendy's or McDonald's or Jack in the Box.
Okay, I'll give Jack in the Box credit for something. They will throw anything against the wall at that place. And most of it is pretty good for, fast food.
I've had so many bad experiences with Jack in the Box in Texas that I won't even try it up here.
See, I go for all the crazy stuff. Like the normal menu stuff has been a little flaky for me. But if it's like one of their like $5 munchie box thingies that are just potatoes and chicken and cheese, just drizzle. Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Jack in the Box, though, it's normally actually their service that has just been so awful so many times at so many different Jack in the Boxes. Oh, we also have Arby's. I'll go there, but it's like a 15-minute drive, which seems way out of the way when everything else is like 5.
Yeah. Arby's may not be the best to say, all right, I'm going to triple my drive time to go to Arby's.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Especially
and if I time it right, the thing is, there's like a local place here that's a drive-in. Oh, we also have Sonic, but I don't ever go there either. The only place I ever go is Wendy's. But I like to go. There's a local drive-in place called Pete's, and I like to go there. And their service is pretty okay. Sometimes it's really slow. But I have to time it right because their hours are so weird sometimes. Like, I want to go at 9 o'clock and they're closed.
I don't know how y'all make it there with these weird closing times of places. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. There's a new coffee shop that's opening up, it looks like. And guess what their hours are? 7 to 3. So now I have 7 to 3, 8 to 4, and 8 to 3? Question mark. Nobody really knows what that coffee shop's hours are right now.
So basically that coffee shop, the 7 to 3, is basically like a late or open donut shop.
Yeah.
It's like
Except I
if you
don't think they
take,
have donuts.
yeah, you just take the donut shop hours and shift them a couple, and it's like, bam, this is what we got. We want this crowd. That's annoying,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Anything else you want to say about movies?
No, this has been the perfect kind of quick chat. I feel this is what we're gonna do. I'm here for
Yes.
it. Just be random. It's fine. No one cares.
All right. You know where to find us next time, guys. Bye.
See ya.